But I just think that for Jonas to win, everything needs to fall into place and nothing can go wrong. And I don't have that feeling with Tadej. Tadej can have a few mishaps and I can still see him in a position to win.
Hi, I'm Spencer Martin, along with Johan Bruyneel, and this is Outcomes. Outcomes is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Nothing in this podcast should be considered financial advice. Please gamble responsibly, and if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, seek help from a professional resource. Hosts and guests may have financial interest in the bets discussed. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Welcome back to Outcomes, everybody. I'm Spencer Martin. I'm here with Johan Bruyneel. We are predicting stage 1 of the Tour de France, as well as the overall and the green jersey classification. Johan, I think we probably know who's going to win. And if you're not familiar, this is the Tour de France, 21 stages and 2 rest days. It starts off with the first 9 stages, and they just broke this down kind of in more depth on the Move podcast. So we won't delve into it here as much, but just a brief overview is the first 9 stages are classic-y, sprinty stages up in the north, 1 time trial on stage 5. We go into the rest day. And then the second week, quite hard. You have multiple tough mountain stages in the Pyrenees. You have a summit finish mountain time trial, basically, on stage 13. Then you have a rest day, and then you have the Alps in the third week. They come right out of the rest day with a Mont Ventoux summit finish, like a hockey stick stage, nothing before it, just straight into it. And then you have a couple brutal alpine stages like stage 18, stage 19, stage 20 is pretty tricky. And then a new twist to the finish in Paris on stage 21. There's the climb up Montmartre, multiple circuits of it. That could be tricky as well. The basic breakdown is 7 mountain stages, 7 flat stages, 6 hilly stages, 2 time trials. That equals 22, but it's because that one of the time trials is a mountain stage. I'll list off the odds for stage 1, and then we'll get Johan's take on who's going to win. And we have a new partner this year, Next Bets. It's nxtbets.com. And if you go to nxtbets.com/bet-outcomes, the link will be in the show notes. They'll guide you to the best sign-up bonuses, where you can bet where you live. The number one question we get is, where can I bet where I live? I live in California. Where can I play? This will tell you exactly where you can go. It will refer you. You'll get sign-up bonuses. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. But the odds, I'm cherry picking the best odds from every book. Tim Merlier, stage 1, he's plus 170. Jonathan Milan, plus 225. Jasper Philipsen, plus 450. Jordi Mayos, plus 2,200. Drops off quite quickly. Biniam Girmay, plus 2,200. Wout van Aert, plus 2,800. Dylan Groenewegen, plus 3,300. As you can tell, it's a sprint stage. It starts in Lille, finishes in Lille. Johan, who is your pick for stage 1?
Yeah, as you say, Spencer, almost guaranteed a sprint stage. It's never completely guaranteed, but a lot would have to go wrong for it to not be a sprint stage. I think a breakaway has no chance. The stakes are high, especially because it's not every day that sprinters can take the yellow jersey in a Grand Tour, and that's what's going to happen tomorrow. So it's the stage victory and the yellow jersey on the line. So I'm going to go for Tim Merlier. He is, in my opinion, one of the craftiest sprinters. He's been on a roll lately. I don't exactly remember how many races he won already, but definitely more than 10. Current European champion and very famous for, in the few Grand Tours he has participated in, he has won always the first sprint stage. Now this is stage 1, so I'm going to go for him. He's the big favorite to win. So, what is he? 220 or?
I saw him at plus 1. The best I could find is plus 170 at FanDuel.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think it's still worth it.
He's freakishly good at.
Tim Merlier is my favorite. I actually read an interview of him yesterday. Very, very interesting. It's in Belgian magazine, but very interesting character and very atypical sprinter. Very quiet, introvert, and basically, has it figured out how he can perform the best. I can see him winning tomorrow's stage.
Interesting. I mean, he's very good at stage 1, not even Grand Tours, just stage races in general, like UAE Tour this year wins the opening stage. He might be the fastest 100-meter sprinter in the World Tour. He's very good when he gets a clean run at the line. When things get more complicated, he's not as good. I'm going with, this is tough. There's a lot of good sprinters here. I'm going with Jonathan Milan, plus 225. I think Milan, if Merlier's the fastest rider, Milan's the one giving him like the toughest time. Like these two guys, I think, are the fastest straight line sprinters. Milan's never done the Tour, which is slightly concerning because it is a different beast from every other Grand Tour, but he's got a super strong little Trek team. He is incredibly fast. Like the guy his absolute power must be just up there with better than anybody else. So I'm going Jonathan Milan to win the stage and get the first yellow jersey.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, Milan's super strong, super fast. As you say, little Trek has a very strong team. I think it's right to put him up there.
And let's say those guys don't win. Do you have a wild card pick for stage one?
Well,
Stuff goes wrong.
A wild card. It's actually it's unbelievable if you look at these odds, Spencer. My wild card is going to be Binyam Girmay. Let's not forget he won 3 stages last year and the green jersey. Didn't have a great season so far. You just brought to my attention that last year was more of the same. But the fact that a triple stage winner of last year and the green jersey of last year is plus 2,200 is just unbelievable. So he's going to be my wild card. Binyam Girmay, I think, gets to another level once he's at the Tour de France. And if things get hectic, I could see him be the first stage winner also.
That is interesting. I don't quite know what's going on there. Maybe he's not quite as fast, pure speed as these guys. But even, these stages are not like, there are a few like pure sprint stages, but even tomorrow, 185 kilometers, there's 3 classified climbs. They're all cat 4, but like, it might not be, they're not going to be rolling around out there and then sprinting at the end. Like there will be fatigue in the legs.
Still, I mean, the fourth cat climb in the Tour. Every Tour de France rider gets over it. It's a different beast.
I don't think anyone's getting dropped. I just think maybe Philipsen does so well at the Tour because I think he fatigues less.
Yeah.
So he can sprint better against these guys who maybe are more powerful on paper.
Yeah. Yeah. I just find it really strange, those odds in the first sprint stage, the first stage, that you have three guys, so plus 150, plus 250 for Milan, and plus 400, and then it's like every other sprinter, they have no chance according to the books. Jordi Meeus, Binyam Girmay, Groenewegen plus 2,500. I mean, lots of things can happen in a sprint.
It's crazy. Like Jordi Meeus could win this state. Like it's not impossible because you're right. It's not going to be a breakaway. This is going to be a sprint. Like sprints are a bit of a lottery. Like Meeus could win. On that note, Meeus is not my wild card, and I think this is a mistake. I don't quite know what's going on here. Pascal Ackermann on Israel Premier Tech has not had a good lead-in. He's 10,000 to win. Like crazier things have happened than Pascal Ackermann winning stage 1, plus 1,800 to podium. So, and he finished third on 2 stages of the Tour last year. This isn't just like a pipe dream I'm dreaming up over here. Like the man has podiumed Tour stages recently, and he's plus 1,800 to podium. I almost wonder if this is a mistake at the books. I don't believe he's currently seriously injured because, as you mentioned, that's a strong team. They would bring someone else if he was. I would go Ackermann as my wild card.
That's a big bet, Spencer. That's a big bet.
You put a little bit of money on it, you're going to make a lot of money.
The plus 10,000, even plus 1,800 for the podium is worth it.
That, I mean, if we're being honest, that one is the more likely one.
Yeah.
Ackermann gets third and we're like, whoa, where'd that come from?
It's been a long time since he won a big race.
Yeah. I mean, think about the podium there. I mean, even like Jordi Meeus to win at 2,200, that's an interesting wild card as well. But let's take a quick break, Johan, to hear from our partners, and then we will predict the overall. And I'm very curious to see who you pick. Everybody, this episode is brought to you by Rugi Ready. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. Are you looking for something beyond the usual pill? Meet Rugi Ready. Other companies rely on similar ingredients to support blood flow, but Rugi Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to help amplify arousal in the brain and increase blood flow. If the usual pills aren't doing the trick, Rugi Ready could be the answer. Kind of wonder if it could be good for cycling. tricking your brain into increasing blood flow. That sounds interesting for the group rides. Its 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue to absorb fast, so you'll be ready in just 15 minutes on average, not hours, and effects can last for up to 36 hours. That means you can stay confident, present, and in control when the moment's right. Want proof? Over 150,000 men have made the switch, and you can read their customer reviews right on the site. Connect with a provider at Rugiet.com/themove to see if Rugiet Ready prescription is right for you. You can use the code THEMOVE to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/themove and use promo code THEMOVE to get 15% off today. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rugiet website for full safety information. Everybody, this episode is brought to you by Caldera Lab. Let's be honest, being a cyclist is not great for your skin, especially in this scorching European heat wave where you're just getting baked out there and maybe you forgot to put sunscreen on. Well, if that's you, Caldera Lab has your back. Their high-performance skincare is specifically made for men, and my favorites are their Clean Slate, which is a pH-balanced cleanser that uses probiotic ferments and plant-based ingredients to gently clean and exfoliate without drying me out. It's perfect after a day in the saddle where I'm just getting absolutely crushed by the sun. And the eye serum is a key building block for podcasters that are tired from flying transatlantic right before the Tour de France and then have to wake up early every morning to watch every stage start to finish. It helps knock back puffiness and dark circles with a smart peptide complex, so you look rested even when you're not. And their base layer is their nutrient-rich moisturizer that absorbs fast, hydrates deep, and leaves a clean, matte finish. No shine, no grease. Skincare doesn't have to be complicated, but it should be good. Upgrade your routine with Caldera Lab and see the difference for yourself. Go to calderalab.com/themove or /themove and use the move at checkout for 15% off your first order. All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. Johan, we don't need to dive into every stage. All you need to know is there's 2 time trials. One of them is up a mountain. There are 6 summit finishes, very hard mountain stages. It's an easy course only because it takes a while to get to the mountains. I believe stage 12 is the first big mountain day. But then after that, it's a lot of mountain days clustered together. It's going to be difficult. That will decide who wins this race. Who do you think wins this overall? Well, wait, I need to list the odds before we do that. I've clicked out of my page. Oh, no. So just as a general overview, this is on Unibet. And again, nextbets.com/bet outcomes will give you all the best places to bet where you live. Tadej Pogacar -265. That is a huge favorite. Jonas Vingegaard +225. Remco Evenepoel +1400. Joao Almeida +2500. Primoz Roglic +3000. We probably don't need to say anyone past that.
Yeah. No, I have to go with Tadej Pogacar. Heavy favorite. Won the Tour last year, won the Giro last year, has been this year, in my opinion, more dominant than last year in the season so far. So, it's logical to think that he's on a higher level than last year, and especially his performance in the Dauphiné was outstanding. He won that. I'm not going to say easy, but comfortably. And he would have won with a lot more advantage if he would really have pushed every single stage. Jonas, of course, is going to be the big challenger, but barring accident or sickness or mechanical problems even, I don't think it will stop him. But, crash or sickness, I don't see how Pogacar can be beaten in this race.
Yeah, even at that price, that sounds ridiculous. But let's just say you get him at -270. That's a 73% chance of winning. So if he wins 73% of the time or greater, you make money on that. I would say, yeah, that's he's probably chances are higher than that because you said the only way he loses is if I don't think a mechanical is enough. I don't think the flat is enough. I think he would have to have a serious crash in these first 9 days or get very sick or sick during a mountain stage. He's kind of fixed all his weaknesses. You guys talked about it in the preview show, like, oh, they're going up Col de la Loze where he was dropped, Ventoux where he was dropped. It's like, well, he's a way better climber than he was when that happened. I don't think I can even throw a name out there that someone should bet on other than him. I think I also the responsible move is to suggest Tadej Pogačar. I've been betting on him over the last like 6 months. Like, after the time trial at the Dauphiné, he fell quite a bit. Like his odds were quite good. Everyone freaked out and thought Jonas was going to win the Tour. So I bet on him then. So just personally, I have a lot of money on Tadej Pogačar to win this race. Having said that, I'm just going to ask you a question. Jonas Vingegaard plus 250. That is kind of intriguing because the guy's won the Tour 2 times and he's very good. It's not like, oh, he's washed up. Like he's probably better than when he won the Tour. Are we overlooking him at all? Or are you comfortable going with Pogačar?
No, I mean, you have to take him into account and respect him. And, he is for the moment, the second best rider in the world in terms of Grand Tours, and especially if you're talking about the Tour de France. But I just think that for Jonas to win, everything needs to fall into place and nothing can go wrong. And I don't have that feeling with Tadej. Tadej can have a few mishaps and I can still see him in a position to win. And I think, for example, in this case here, the way this Tour de France is designed, Pogačar is a lot better bike handler, a lot better in the peloton, will spend a lot less energy in the first 10 days than Jonas. Even if Jonas has always teammates, there are a lot of moments you're on your own and you have to fight, And I just see that Jonas is more stressed on the bike than Tadej, and that adds up. And so the way this Tour de France is designed, I think, is, even if you say, okay, the hardest mountains are in the end, the way Pogačar can ride his bike compared to Jonas, I think is a huge advantage in terms of saving energy and staying out of trouble. I
totally agree. I mean, it's very possible. It's possible Pogačar crashes. If he crashes and has a problem, Vingegaard's going to win this race. So do with what you will with that information.
Yeah.
I don't think it's likely. The thing that is bothering me on like this whole conversation is it's like, oh, well, the hard climbs are at the end. Jonas is a better climber. That gives the advantage to Jonas. What happened on stage 20 of the Tour last year, Johan? Did Pogačar not nuke everybody? What about stage 19?
Well, you mean, I think people who say that, we have to take into account that Jonas last year was not at his full potential, right? And then if you go back to the year before, Tadej was not at his full potential because he came back from a fracture. So, we can actually only go back to 2022, where both of them were at the start in their best shape, and Tadej lost, right? That's I think. But anyways, I think now Jonas had a perfect preparation, focusing everything on the Tour, and Tadej had an incredible spring, but showed up at the Dauphiné and was head and shoulders above Jonas. So I don't know how easy it could be to bridge that gap from Dauphiné to the Tour de France.
There's also no guarantee that everyone, I think it's just the way the human mind works. You look at that Dauphiné and you say, well, Jonas is going to get better. It's like, well, Tadej could get better. Like, why would they both not be improving before the Tour? Like, That's not Tadej's peak form. Like, he's going to improve before the Tour. So I'm not saying that Jonas Vingegaard's not going to win this race. I'm just saying those arguments bother me because they seem to just like iron out inconvenient details. The fact that Tadej Pogačar, his climbing performances in the last 2 days of the last Tour were unbelievable. The last 2 mountain days, like even if Jonas was at his best, like I don't think he's dropping Pogačar on those stages.
No, I think, listen, it's, you always have to try and get some hope or some motivation out of something, and so there's also, this way of talking up your game and say, I'm okay, I'm better after 3 weeks. I'm a better in long climbs and this, and Jonas is better in the heat than Tadej, but it was super hot in the Dauphiné. And so I just think that Pogačar is just a much better rider now than in he's better than 2024, where he was almost unbeatable. I think he's better now, and he's definitely better than 22 and 23, where he didn't win the Tour.
And then the last argument everyone pulls out is the teams. So it's like, Visma's strong, but it's like, well, UAE is pretty strong. And in fact, UAE might have the better second option in Almeida than anyone Visma has.
Yeah. Well, you can say, okay, Visma has Simon Yates, who just won the Giro, but normally when you win a Grand Tour, and I mean, that kind of caliber of rider, right? Like Simon Yates, he's going to be okay, but I don't expect him to be at all at the level of the Giro.
Well,
in the Tour de France.
I think Pogačar broke some brains. Like, he did the Giro Tour double.
And also, Spencer, one of the things that I think is important, because, they say, okay, well, Visma has a strong team in the depth, right? And that's true. They have Matteo Jorgensen, they have Simon Yates, who could potentially be two threats to send into breaks, right? In crucial stages in mountains. Personally, I mean, and this is just my own feeling, right? I think they're only going to be able to use Matteo Jorgensen for that, because Simon Yates, I mean, I respect him. He's a really good rider, but, he won already his big goal. He has won the Giro. That's like, wow. He knows he's not going to win the Tour ever, right? Simon Yates and Adam Yates, but we're going to talk about Simon here. They're not very famous to be riding in front of the peloton. I expect when the mountains arrive that Simon Yates could easily be already 10 minutes behind in the GC. Because he's gotten in a split, and then you cannot use him anymore strategically to put pressure on UAE in terms of breakaways, right? So they need to keep Jorgensen and Simon Yates in the front of the peloton, in the front of the classification until the first big mountain stage. And I think with Simon Yates, that's not going to happen.
I mean, do you think even physically he's going to be able to? It's very rare for riders to win the Giro and come back and be sharp at the Tour.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult.
Rarely happens.
It's difficult, and especially also mentally. Like he comes off a high. He's gonna do his job whenever he can. But it's like a balloon, like a big balloon that has been under pressure, and you kind of let the air out a little bit. To pump it up again to full pressure, it's not easy. 6 weeks later.
Yeah, like the north of France, a longish time trial, got to be one of the longest time trials of the year, stage 5, and then like a massive central stage.
Yeah, but he's not a bad time trialist. The Simon Yates, I think. I'm not
when he's like really
trial.
Dialed in.
Yeah. I'm more worried about these hectic stages and positioning and him being in the back of the peloton. I'm a lot more worried about that.
I'm comfortable saying the Yates brothers will not decide this Tour de France. I think it's going to be rider against rider, Pogačar.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We've been talking about this for quite a bit now. We can debate about who has the stronger team, but once they're in the mountains and Pogačar accelerates, it is only one guy who can stay with him for a limited amount of time, and it's Jonas. Teams don't matter anymore.
And we saw it at the Dauphiné. Pogačar gets out of the saddle, and it's one-on-one. And there's nobody there to help. But before we move on, I want your podium picks. So Pogačar's going to win. Who finishes on the podium?
I'm going to say Pogačar first, Jonas second, Almeida third.
Okay, so Jonas is still not good value. Jonas is minus 575 to podium. Almeida, this is interesting. This maybe is my favorite pick. Almeida's plus 250 to podium. I think the guy is the third best stage racer in the world right now. I would be very comfortable betting on that. The only zag I would have, Florian Lipowitz plus 400 to podium. What do you think about that, Johan?
Yeah, I mean,
finished third behind those two at Dauphiné.
No, he's strong. He's super strong. First Tour de France, also not great in positioning. Not great at all.
That's not going to matter at this tour, is it?
I don't know. I mean, it's a pity we can't bet for top 5, because I have a top 5 candidate who I have high hopes in. Well, it's a guy that nobody thinks about, but it's Matthias Kelmose.
Well, the money's not very good. You can't do top 10 for both of those guys. Yeah. Lipowitz is minus 400. OOTCOMES a -120, which is actually a really good bet.
Mm-hmm. Because I think Schelmoze is going to grow in this tour. He comes from an injury or a sickness. He had to, wasn't able to do Tour of Switzerland because of sickness. Then he did this race in Andorra. He won it. Not a big field, but still, I think Schelmoze is going to be top 5 in the tour.
Yeah, I don't hate that. What do you think about Enric Mas for top 10? Is there any chance he finishes outside the top 10? They should be paying us money.
There is money. there is a possibility. He sometimes has a really bad day.
Can we bet on like that Mas will at no point ever be on the front? What would be the odds of that?
No, he will. I think he will. For some stages, he will be there. Yeah, I remember last year he fought it out with Carapaz there for one stage.
It's a good stage.
Yeah.
Well, let's take another quick break, and then I want your thoughts on the green jersey, because I think this is going to be actually the interesting plot of this tour. Everybody, this episode is brought to you by Manukora honey. Are you looking for something simple and delicious to add to your wellness routine? Well, look no further, because Manukora honey is what you need. I used to throw regular honey into everything, tea, breakfast bowls, and protein shakes, but then I discovered Manukora, and honestly, it puts all other honey to shame. It's rich, creamy, and has a deep, complex flavor that makes you want to eat it straight off the spoon, which I do every morning. First thing I do, I get up to watch my cycling, and I have a spoonful of Manukora honey, and I feel better. I also use it to snack throughout the day and find myself eating less sweets and junk. And what really sets Manukora apart is what's inside. It's packed with powerful nutrients that support immunity and gut health. And thanks to the bioactive rich nectar the bees collect from the Manuka tea tree in New Zealand, it even contains a unique antibacterial compound called MGO. And every harvest is third-party tested, so you know exactly what you're getting. Head to manukora.com/themove to save 31% plus $25 worth of free gifts with the starter kit, which comes with an MGO 850 plus Manuka honey jar, 5 honey travel sticks, which I have with me right now, a wooden spoon, and a guidebook. That's manukora.com/themove to save 31% plus $25 worth of free gifts. Find the link in the show notes if you want to change your life with this honey. All right, back to the episode. All right, we are back. So the points jersey classification, which is the green jersey, I'll just read the odds. This is on DraftKings. Jonathan Milan plus 250, Jasper Philipsen plus 275, Wout van Aert plus 500, Tim Merlier plus 700, Tadej Pogacar plus 700, Biniam Girmay, defending champion, plus 1,100. Jordi Meus plus 2,500. We don't have to go past. Actually, Thibaut Nice plus 8,000. So points classification, it is weighted. It's really just where you finish on the stage. First is more points. Last would be no points. And then there's intermediate sprints. You have to be a good sprinter to win it. You have to win stages. Not always, though. And you have to be like very consistent. That's why Jonathan Milan can climb. He can sprint. He's a good classics rider. That's why he's first. But who do you think is going to win this classification, Johan?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also different, Spencer, because some stages have more points than others, right?
Like and the sprint stages have more,
have bigger points. So that's why the sprinters are more favorite. But I mean, I'm going to go with Tadej Pogacar for the green jersey. I think he's going to be in front in so many stages that he's a serious candidate for the green jersey also.
You know, it sounds a little goofy when you say it, but I think he's going to place really well and probably get quite a few time bonuses in these first 9 stages. And then we get into his terrain, where he'll only rack up more and more. So
what is he plus 700, he said?
Plus 700 for the best rider in the race. Notably, Mathieu van der Poel is he even on this list? Can't even find him. Interesting. So I guess Van der Poel not highly rated to win this classification. I'm going to go Jonathan Milan just because I'd be kicking myself if he wins it. Plus 250. He's quite a consistent sprinter, even if he's not winning, and he's a really good climber, and he can, he's a good classics rider too. And the first 9 stages are very akin to classics. So like Tim Merlier is lower because he's not as good of a climber, just not all around as good as like Milan or I guess Philipsen would really have to win some stages, I think, to contest this. What do you think about Wout van Aert plus 500? It still feels a little high for me since he does have a full plate of work, you'd imagine.
Yeah, but Wout already said that he's not making an objective. He just wants to pick out a few stages and do his full job for the team. So,
I think if you win this, you're going to be fully focused on it.
Yeah.
And if Beniam wins again, we'll all look like fools. I can't believe he's that far down.
Yeah, that's crazy, actually. But I guess they go off what they've seen so far, and Biniam Girmay hasn't shown us that we can have confidence unless he pulls off again something like last year. It's not impossible.
Before we go, there's a name we have not mentioned, Remco Evenepoel. Mm-hmm. How do you think he's going to do? He is, for the overall win, he's plus 1,000, plus 100 to podium. He finished third last year. How do you think he's going to do with this tour?
I see on Unibet here, he's plus 150 for the podium. No, listen, he is the third candidate. Especially, I mean, if you compare, for example, I picked Almeida, but if you compare Remco and Almeida, normally Remco should be in the advantage because he's the leader of the team. It's the whole team for him. Almeida will have to at some point sacrifice his own chances for Pogacar, but he will be the last man. And, he can time trial also. I mean, with Almeida, I'm also a bit worried about the positioning, by the way. Same as for Simon Yates, for example. So yeah, Remco, I can see Remco. I think Remco's going to win the time trial. Unless Filippo Ganna wins, that's also not impossible. But I can see Remco in yellow after the time trial.
I do think Remco's going to win that time trial. The only thing is, like you said about Simon Yates, I don't think it's impossible that Remco loses time, like in these early stages.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not a great at positioning.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And like you look at stage 4, like that's a really difficult end of the day. Like it's a total mess. So I think Remco, I don't know, like he's very good at not looking that good at the Dauphiné and then looking like he was so good at the Tour last year. So I kind of don't want to count him out, but I think the positioning could bite him more this year than last year.
Yeah, agree.
Well, any other thoughts, Johan, before we?
No, that's
going?
it. I'm anxious to see how we start tomorrow.
And if you're in the US, the race is on Peacock, which also incidentally is where the move is going to be on after every stage. And then Johan has his Sir Wiggo and Sir Wiggo and Johan show, which I like the name. The name got a lot of heat on the move, but that's going to be just on the normal We Do channels. And then we'll be on the normal We Do channels for outcomes as well. And remember, nextbets.com/bet-outcomes if you want to see the best sign-up offers for every book where you live. All right, we will talk tomorrow, Johan. See you later.
Thanks. Speak soon.
Bye.